President Trump introduced a slew of country-specific retaliatory tariffs set to take effect on April 9th. While sector-specific tariffs were not a part of the announcement, they're certainly taking a hit today, at least the stocks related to those sectors. So let's break it down. Our Yahoo Finance reporters are taking a deeper look at technology, retailers, and autos. Let's kick it off with tech, with Apple taking the steepest losses among the Mag 7 so far pre-market here. Allie, let's get over to you. What else are we seeing in the tech trade?
Yeah, Maddie, it's a sea of red in futures trading right now. You mentioned Apple. We're down over 7% in extended trading. Now, if these levels hold at the open, it will be the largest intraday drop since September 3rd, 2020. So that just gives some context on how spooked investors are right now. Apple's overseas production hubs are particularly vulnerable to these tariff countries, given the presence in nations like China, Vietnam, and India. In fact, Apple has actually relocated some of its manufacturing facilities out of China amid these tensions with the U.S., but clearly with these new tariffs now in play, there's just nowhere to hide right now. We see other Magnificent Seven names also under pressure. Amazon, another big name, down 7%. Alphabet off just around 4%. Meta 6%. Microsoft down 3%. Now, as a reminder, if we take a look at some of the countries that will be most impacted, that a lot of these tech and semiconductor names are most exposed to, we have 34% additional tariffs on China. Now, that's on top of the 20% levies that are currently in place. 32% on Taiwan, 46% on Vietnam, 26% on India, 36% on Thailand. Now, the Taiwan government did respond to these tariffs earlier today. They said that the levies were unreasonable. They plan to reach out to the White House to negotiate. Now, within tech, it's worth noting that semiconductors are one of the few items exempt from additional tariffs, but we're still seeing some significant selling pressure there. If we flip over to a semis board on extended trading, you're going to see that names like Broadcom, similar to NVIDIA, off 7%. NVIDIA, one of the big leaders of the bull market over the past 2 years, just down 6%. TSM also down 6%. And this is because analysts have warned that despite the exemptions, there are still negative implications for the entire semi sector, particularly when we think about end demand for PCs, iPhones, and the significant amount of manufacturing that's done within China. Some analysts have said that NVIDIA, and to a lesser extent Broadcom, they could potentially be insulated due to the fact that their clients are these big hyperscalers. They're spending a lot on AI, really growth at any cost. But there's also been some talk that no one's really talking about bringing manufacturing into the U.S. because many of these companies don't think that these tariffs will actually stick. So that's the next point here, is that the negotiation table, that's going to be a big focus. We'll see if anything can get done before these additional tariffs are set to come into play April 9th. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Allie. Appreciate it. Shifting gears now to retail. Stocks there taking hefty losses following the tariff announcement, and Brooke DePalma has more. Brooke?
Good morning, Julie. Well, one analyst is saying you might want to rethink investments in specialty apparel as these tariffs take effect. That Stifel analyst Jim Duffy told clients in a note this morning, quote, "Until visibility improves, we expect investors show very little appetite for investment in our coverage universe." Think Nike, think Lululemon. Those are among the hardest hit this morning. Shares of both sliding in the pre-market trading as investors really digest the impact that these reciprocal tariffs will have on the countries that both Nike and Lululemon source from. Taking a closer look, Nike, 11% of its products are sourced from China, 44% from Vietnam. On the flip side, for Lululemon, 42% of products were manufactured in Vietnam, 16% in Cambodia, both of which they went to in order to offset that impact in China. Now, China is facing a 34% reciprocal tariff here. Once again, that's on top of the 20% tariff that's already in place. Vietnam facing a 46% reciprocal tariff, and Cambodia 49%. And on top of that, away from specialty retail and into discount, Dollar Tree caught my eye this morning. It's a place where many low-income shoppers are relying on right now. Direct imports made up 41% to 43% of Dollar Tree's total retail value purchases, and China supplies the majority of those imports.
All right, Brooke, thanks so much for breaking that down for us. Finally, international automakers mostly lower this morning following the implementation of those previously announced 25% tariffs on all imported vehicles. Praz Subramanian here with more. Praz, what are you looking at?
You know, a couple interesting things kind of hit the inbox and try to hit the reports here. First off, I want to talk about VW. They're actually going to add an import fee to the window sticker to their cars, right? That's how they're responding. We heard price hikes are coming from certain automakers, but we're going to see that import fee, and they're also going to keep certain rail shipments from Mexico in Mexico for now, and they're going to also keep certain cars in ports until they can figure out what to do with them that are subject to tariffs. Ford, on the flip side, is offering employee pricing to all Americans here. They're actually going to reduce prices, believe it or not. I think it's an interesting move from a marketing point of view. Is it a goodwill gesture to the Americans that are supposed to be suffering from price hikes? Is it a marketing gimmick? We're hearing all kinds of responses to that move, but I think it's good for Ford in terms of they have a lot of inventory to get through. The question is what happens in June. And finally, we're seeing GM not responding to tariffs just quite yet. And then Stellantis said we're not going to implement price hikes just quite yet, but they are idling production. We just confirmed at 2 plants, one in Mexico and one in Canada.
All right, thanks, Pras. Appreciate it.